And we are live. All right. Give it a few seconds. Whew. Mhm. Trying to figure out how to pose. Okay. Give folks a few more seconds, maybe a minute to come on board, and then we're going to get started.
All right, all right. Let me see what we got here. I just saw the notification. All right, let me see what we got going on here. All right, so I'm just going to share this to my page.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right, all right. Mm-mm.
Oh, that's Get Loose's beat, by the way.
Very nice.
Yes, he made that for me. I was like, thank you. And it's really cool, really smooth. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in to another edition of an interview with hosted by yours truly, Eunice White. And tonight we have an author by the name of Christopher Allen with a book titled Open Wounds. We're here to discuss that book. We're here to discuss all types of empowerment, its dedication, and and how we can collectively be a part of the movement towards empowerment for young adult men, well, young men and adult men. Hope
Oh,
I said that
absolutely.
correctly. So, welcome, Christopher.
Thank you, thank you. I definitely appreciate you for having me on your show this evening. Definitely a pleasure.
Well, thank you for your time. Well, we had a little bit. I had a couple of just want to just make this put this out there in case we had some glitches tonight. A little technical difficulty, and by the grace of God, my brother, my son was like, "You can use my computer." I'm like, "Thank you," and here we are. It's going to happen. So, thank you again for being patient with me through all of that. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, definitely. And I also would like to thank our sponsors for the night. As always, we have Untapped Talent Recordings or Untapped Talent Records. If you're an artist and you're looking for beats or management, if you're looking to just use their recording studio, you can reach out to Frank Hatchett and Terry Hatchett. Frank Hatchett, also known as DJ Get Loose,
Get
at Untapped
loose.
Talent Recordings. That's www.untappedtalentrecords.com. You all should also know that they have a internet radio station, and it's called Untapped Music Radio. You will hear the replay of this broadcast tonight, tomorrow at 3:30. So check them out tomorrow. Again, that's www.untappedtalentrecords.com. We also have another sponsor, AIM, AIM, and that is a young lady by the name of April Armstrong International Media, and April is the owner of that wonderful platform of graphic design. If you're looking for a
Mm.
graphic design artist to help you with your branding or marketing or anything to do with graphic design, she is your person. She does wonderful work. She comes
Okay.
highly recommended, by the way, and she's Black owned. She's wonderful. April Armstrong. All right,
April.
so I hope I got everything out of the way. So how are you doing again? You doing good today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Had a wonderful day today. As you're getting older, I was after work today. I had to take a little nap, so I'm up and ready to go.
I wish I could have gotten a nap. I wish I really could have gotten myself a nap, but it just didn't happen that way, man. I'm telling you. But I'm running off some fumes, some steam, but I'm here. I'm here. So let's talk about you, Christopher Allen, the author. How did you fall into that? Tell us all about who you are.
Let me give you a little insight right now. I'm Christopher Allen. I am an author, publisher, paralegal, notary. songwriter. I'm a poet. I'm an actor, model, um, speaker, and I'm also a mentor. And I've dedicated a lot of my time, in the community, just focusing on personal growth, inner healing, fatherhood, mindfulness, and some people is like, well, how do you do all that? Well, listen, it's not perfect. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. And so, I'm on this journey as well. So, this is what I do on a daily basis. That's me, Arthur Chris Allen.
Well, what's important is that you're using your gifts and you're blessing others with your gifts. So that's a good thing. And you have a lot of gifts. Gosh, that's a long list right there.
Yes, I was a guy. I should have gave you three, but a lot of people was like, well, how come you didn't say this? You didn't say that. You can do that. So
Well, that's good.
that's what it is.
So you're an actor?
Yes.
Wow. And a model?
Yes.
Wow. And then a mentor. That is awesome. That
And a
is so
mentor. So
awesome. So
just
you
able to
have this
balance it all
piece.
out.
Said it again?
I set up, just able to try to, when things come, I, try to prioritize things the best to my ability,
Mhm.
to my family life and things of that nature. And then from there, decide and move on if it's worth it.
That's good. Well, when did you fall in love with writing? I love to ask someone, when did you fall in love with it? Like I asked Get Loose, when did you fall in love with music? I asked someone else, when did you fall in love with? So when did you fall in love with writing?
Wow. I actually fell in love with writing. I could remember this as far as like kindergarten.
Hmm.
When I was growing up, I used to go and listen to the records, and maybe fourth or fifth grade, we had like the Chicken Heart with Bill Cosby, and different records and things like that. And they would have all these catchy lines and work. Bill Cosby, and they would have these catchy lines and things to say, and I was like, wow, it was like I really like that. So I just started creating stories and writing different poetries about things that I saw, pictures and things like that. And after winning a few contests and winning an award when I was young for writing the best creative science fiction story or something like that. So I was like, okay, I'm sticking with this. Yeah.
Oh, good. And Open Wounds, I understand, is a book series. So where are we with tonight's piece? Where are we in your series? The beginning part of it, or
Open Wounds is actually book one. And
okay?
yeah, that's actually book one. I do have a book two following called uh, it's like additional tales from Open Wounds or stories
Hmm.
about my life that I wasn't included in the first one. Because you can't include everything in one book sometimes. It's too
Hmm.
much.
Hmm.
And it seems like every chapter could actually be its own book. But
Hmm.
yeah, it could be its own book. So started off with Open Wounds. And that was really just when I looked at it, going through it, just over the years, different pieces of poetry that I put together. It's actually, I would call it stoetry
Hmm.
because within the stories, I have poetry as well, just to give it the extra enhancement for the book. And just something else for, different people who like stories or people who like poetry. There's something to go into and grab onto, just real life stories. And so it just added that extra element uh, into the book.
Okay. So how did you come about writing Open Wounds?
So, how I came about writing Open Wounds is that um, over the years, I just talked, different elements of stories and things that happened to me in my life, and wrote about those specific things. And one day, I was talking to some. I was in a mentor program, and I was talking about some of my stories, and um, an adult woman was like, you should put these together, and share all these stories. It could be very, helpful, very inspirational to, to others who may be going through similar same things. So since that point, I took those stories, put it together, and here we are, Open Wounds.
What surprised you about yourself when you were writing?
Um, really, how far I've come as a young man, as an individual, um, and just the just trusting the learning process and the growing process of going through your pains and things that you're going through, and really just learning how the perseverance of going through trials and things in your life and being able to move through it. I was like, wow. I moved through all that. I'm like, yeah, I definitely did. Um, and I think that's the one of the greatest things I think about the book is that um, when you see those different things, the elements of going through uh, fatherhood abandonment, um, uh, bullying, racism, being born a preemie, had a lot of health problems, health issues, growing up, and was able to move and grow out of those different things, um, and going through relationships, just everyday life, going to school, and so that was amazing.
So as I was reading through the book, I noticed that
Hmm.
what I found fascinating is how you address each chapter. You did say that you coin it a story tree, or is that like a genre out there?
I have no idea. I just coined it stoetry because I was like,
Okay.
it's part poetry is stoetry, and I love
Hmm.
wordplay, so I like
Yeah,
combining words, and it might not be in the dictionary, but I know what it is.
you coined it. That's good. See, now
Yeah.
we have a new genre. It's called story, and that's not bad. But I do like how you open up each chapter. And it
Hmm.
seems like something, well, I definitely want to talk about this, and that is you spoke about your gifts. You have a special gift or um
Mm.
spiritual gift. And I think I
Yes.
kind of picked up on it a lot throughout the themes of your book. But I noticed that each chapter opens up with something universal or something dealing with the universe. You want to talk about the how you your titling of the chapters and why you titled the chapters the way you titled them.
And you know what, Eunice, this is beautiful. I'm gonna tell you because a lot of people didn't notice that. They
Oh,
like
really? Wow.
went way over their head. So
Mhm.
yeah, so this is the first time any interviewer, anybody has ever asked me this question
Oh,
live.
wow.
So
Cool.
kudos to you.
Thank you.
One of the things that I did, Eunice, was that we talk of like some of the chapters, like Penumbra and Umbra, and I thought that would catch people's eyes and just say, like, why did he actually put that in there? We're talking about the different um, parts of the moon and the different parts of the solar eclipse, the sun and the moon and the earth and things like that. So when I use Penumbra as far as my first chapter, that was just going from if you ever seen an eclipse, and I was relating it to if you're coming from a part of your life where your parents, your peers, everybody's teaching you, life is beautiful. It's this grand thing, and yeah, you got God, you got Christ, you got this, that, things of that nature. Things are beautiful, but they never go into the dark side where you're actually that light, um, and you're actually shading into the darker elements of your life, or you get ready to
Hmm.
shade into that part of it.
So
Where
that shadow
I
side of
was raised to be
yourself.
a yes, I was raised to be a great person, but dealing with society, dealing with people, it took me to another place. And when you talk about penumbra, it was just that element, that piece, just before the eclipse actually happened. So, I had that bright element, and it faded into going into which is the umbra, which is the second chapter, where I just totally just look, I don't even care anymore, and that took me to another, to the bad aspect of my life, um, by not staying in the light. So um, those are the two elements of it that, um, you know. So I was like, if you didn't know, now you know. And each
Wow.
chapter does have like a small piece of a poem or excerpt that I took from a poem that was in the book and
Hmm.
placed it there, just to give you a little bit more insight. Like the one where I was like, I was so far from the light that all I could see was twilight,
Hmm.
and that was me really going into that dark element, the depression, the um,
One moment, please. It appears we're having some technical difficulty. One moment. Here we go. And you're back.
We back.
Look, speaking of the dark side, it just went black on
Yes.
us. That is crazy.
It was like, but it's okay. We back.
We're back. So, with that being said, and if we were to compare, as we're comparing this story to the phases of the moons or the beauty of an eclipse, you stated, you're moving from the light into a more shadow side of yourself and having to dig deep into some things that you had to address. I know there was some loss that took place in the first chapter for you, a couple
Yes.
of losses,
Yes.
physical, spiritual, emotional losses. And that took you into from what I'm gathering from the book, I don't want to speak for you, but it seemed
Yeah.
it took you to, in chapter 2, to that area you had stated of having to deal with the dark issues,
Mhm.
um, and how every decision in that dark time really, you met it at the end. I would kind of say you met your decisions along the way, and you met your decisions at the end, but you had to learn how to overcome.
Absolutely. It and one of the things that um I would just say as an individual going through these things is that um sometimes you go into those dark places. It's the best for you to really sit down and be still.
Hmm.
There could
Say
there
that
could be a lesson
again.
in the answer in that.
Hmm.
It's really a time for you to sit down and be still because I became, as opposed to being responding to a situation, I had so much hatred and I had so much anger to the things that happened to me in my life. I became reaction toward towards things.
Hmm.
Um, I no longer treated people with respect. I no longer cared about my fellow man, my fellow lady, my mom, my papa, whoever. I just lost everything went out the window. Everything they taught me from, going to school to get your education, um, going through death, the way that several deaths that happened to me, like repeatedly, it really just took me out of my space and my place where I just no longer care. And sometimes we get in that place. Um, that's the time that you really should be praying or
Hmm.
really focusing or talking to somebody and things that happened to me, I lost the trust in dealing with my family or my fellow man friends or whoever. And when you really feel alone out there,
You can.
you make some bad decisions based on
Hmm.
that void, that pain and that hurt in your life. And
Hmm.
that's when you really need to be still and it's like, "Yeah, God, I need help, you know
Yeah, and it's really interesting how during those times, sometimes that's the hardest time to actually stop yourself and say, you know what, let me just take a moment, because the worst thing you can do is make a decision when you're angry, when you're hurt. It really can mess you up down the road. That's for sure. So I
because
noticed.
it, it really compounded
Mhm,
um, everything. That it was like a catalyst to everything that happened.
mhm,
And I was with one guy was telling me, don't do this, don't do that.
mhm,
um, he showed me that he was with me as I was walking through these things and protecting me. But it seemed like the more that he was trying to keep me out of trouble, the more trouble I got into.
mhm,
So I had to recognize those signs and be like, yeah, okay, you know what, I'm done. I
mhm.
surrender. you know yeah.
Well, you did speak about a lot of your different tests for sure, and it appeared you definitely had some angels walking with you. I love that one piece, which is why I think this is such a well written book. It's very sweet, sweetly written and carefully written to really help us see ourselves in the same situation. Like, you're not the only person that went through it. I'm pretty sure many
Yes.
people are going to find themselves in the same walk. But you had angels walking with you. You had people, or people positioned to meet you as you went, as you're taking your journey. And I do like the one part where you have shared with your brother shared with you from a perfect
Yes.
stranger, and how
Ooh.
true that was for your life at the moment. When did you surrender to that advice? You know the part I'm talking about.
Oh man.
I don't want to
um
give it away, but do you know what the part I'm speaking of? Your brother's
Now,
field trip.
which was yes. Oh, that
That
was
was
amazing
amazing to me.
because and this is not the first time something like that ever really actually happened in my life where
Wow.
somebody from out of the blue or something this is like, hold up, wait a minute, before you go any further, you need this piece of information. So
Hmm.
what I thought was amazing about that book is because or that particular chapter, um, I was waiting for my brother and them to get back, because they was planning this tournament in DC, and they went to visit this field trip out there, and they was going to the White House to visit the White House,
Hmm.
and out of all people, a gypsy runs into a team of like 15 guys walking on the black
Hmm.
guys walking on the street. Now, who's
Hmm.
gonna walk up? Who? And excuse me, like who Caucasian is gonna walk up to a group of black guys? And out of all the 15 guys, she's gonna point out my brother and tell him
Hmm.
that the gentleman, that's somebody very important to you in your life. He's a male figure. It could be a brother, could be an uncle, could be a father, something like that. But
Hmm.
whatever he's doing right now, he said it's producing a lot of money. And the people around him would seem like his friends, but they really want to do him harm.
Hmm.
And to tell him, to get away from these people, stop dealing with these people as soon as possible. And, I was just like, hey, whatever, you crazy, this and that and the third. But a situation came and somebody was like, you should really go see somebody. And so I went on my own to go to a separate individual. I went to
Hmm.
go see somebody, and they read me my cards and this, and that, and the third, and they was like, "Ooh." And the crazy thing, the same thing that they told me, that my brother told me, the same thing that the woman told me.
Hmm.
So it was really profound at that point in time in my life, and that's when I was like, "Okay, you know what? I need to go ahead and leave these people alone,"
Hmm.
because I saw the signs, I paid attention to the signs, but sometimes you just want to be like, that ain't really real. I said
Hmm.
I said my folk wouldn't do that to me,
Hmm.
but it was real.
Hmm.
It was
And
real.
then we're talking about a time when you were um, out there. What,
Running them,
what would they
run,
call
run,
them?
running them streets.
You run them streets. Running them streets, you up and down 95 doing some
Yes,
things. And I think it was
doing
just
some
awesome.
things.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you spoke about that in the book because even when like you stated, as a young child, you've always had this sense of you always had this spiritual sense where you were able to even, I don't know if we want to say the term prophesy, but you were able to speak certain things in certain people's life as a young child. And they was kind of writing
Yes.
you off like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And then next
Look,
thing you
people
know,
wanted
this
to
stuff.
fight me. It was like, well, why you say that? That's terrible. And people wanted to fight me and this and that. And but then when things happen, then it was
Yeah.
like, oh my
Oh
God,
my
like what's wrong
gosh.
with you? So I had to deal with that aspect of it, and that wasn't good either. So there was a verse in the Bible that says, you can't always uh, present pearls, before the swine, something of that nature. The
Hmm.
pearls before the swine,
Hmm.
and you can't always tell things to people, and sometimes you
Hmm.
just have to let it happen. But I loved and cared about people so much. That's how I was raised. That if you go out and do this, be careful of this. Don't go there. And they like,
Hmm.
whatever. This not the third, and then they come back later on. Oh, such and such jump me, or somebody tried to shoot me, or something. So
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, that was a trip though.
Hmm. I bet
Yeah,
it
that was
was.
a
I bet
trip.
it was. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And again, like I said, you seem to have always had someone walking with you throughout your life to kind of help you along the way, that you do the way. And
Absolutely.
I think that's a blessing. So your biological father, I know you talked about that a little bit in your book and about you got to a place of forgiveness eventually in
Yes.
your life towards your father. Were you ever able to sit down with him and tell him you forgive him? What did he ever ask for forgiveness? Did he ever apologize for his absence in your life? How did that work?
Um, Matter of fact, um, myself and my significant other, at the time, we had went and to visit um, my mother and my family. Most of them live in Delaware, so we drove up, and I had a chance to call him and talk to him. And he was like, when are we ready? Come by, whatever like that. So I went by, and we really sat down and we talked. And this was the first time in my whole life, because that he actually opened up and talked to me and told me,
Hmm.
about the things that he experienced growing up. Um,
Hmm.
um, and it was crazy that this was why it's like I really started noting, paying attention to certain aspects of whether it be ancient texts or biblical texts and things of that nature, where they was talking about the
Hmm.
sins of your father. It
Yeah.
get it, Sins of get passed down to your child.
Oh, wow.
So by even the years
whatever he's
that
doing right now.
his trial started, or his
Hmm.
when he committed these things, was almost to the month and year of when things started happening to me in my life, especially like the major things. So that was really amazing. But just learning about where he came from, um, how he was treated, the different things that was going on at the time, it all made sense. You just you a young person trying to learn and make it through,
Hmm.
and dealing with his trauma. You just try to do the best you can with what you know, and it just made so much sense. But I wanted to get his side of the story,
Hmm.
um, to kind of close that door for me, because it hurt me the most, because he never wanted to talk about it. He act like it was, when people talk about UFOs, they don't exist, aliens don't exist, and things of that. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So it was
Hmm.
like this thing. So I was really glad that he opened up, because it really closed that. It closed that chapter to my life of wanting him to tell me his side of the story and really what happened, and
Hmm.
not just hearing my mother and my family side of the story or what really happened. So that closed that chapter to it, and he did apologize to me for the first time, and that really that meant a lot to me, and it brought that closure,
Hmm.
and I was able to really move forward. Although I moved forward, but they would say it was almost like that patch of, I don't know, irritation, something still left in me that really needed that. So I was able to get that, and it was like I did forgive him, but that was like total release. It was
Hmm.
like gone. So I was so happy that I had that moment in my life to share it with him, and for him to share that with me. And so I wanted to share that with some of the people who are reading the book as well, because I know they've gone through having an absent mother, an absent father, or somebody who might have died early in their life and they never had a chance to have that relationship, and it's that void there. So those are the ones that I know they really go through a lot of different things in their life and make bad decisions based on that void and that hurt.
Hmm.
So
Very easy to do.
that was really for them.
Hmm.
Yes.
So, you
Hmm.
mentioned that you mentor and you have done speaking engagements with respect to your book. Um, how how challenging have it been for you, if it's been a challenge, to be able to talk to that one person you can just possibly see yourself in, you can see the anger that they're sitting in, and how have you been instrumental in helping them to come out of that? Like you said, after a while, even in your book you were saying, after a while, who are you going to keep blaming? you know
Right.
when you're going to make that decision for yourself to step out of all of this and move forward. How challenging has it been for you, when it comes to mentoring young men, and adult men, to help them see past their traumas?
It's very difficult at first, and some take a lot longer to crack. And I wouldn't not even going to say crack, but for them to put down that facade, to put down that I know it all, I have all the answers, I'm going to do me. Um, and sometimes you have to sometimes throw that ball back in that court, and was like, doing you, where has it gotten you so far? Sometimes you have to also present that tough love to them as well, um, and give them some ultimatums,
Hmm.
give them some things to think about, some questions to think about sometimes, because sometimes
Hmm.
it take a lot of time, a lot of sessions, a lot of just being around them, being with them, even with, having them to address their friendships and their connections.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're in a place of trauma, you got people around you who's going to really like, how can I say? It's just like keep tapping somebody on the shoulder. It's an irritation. It's going to keep flaring up if you don't address it or move away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, again, it was very difficult at first. But the more, and a lot of times, our young men lose, and young women as well. They, for whatever reason, they don't have the trust in their parents, their guardians. They don't have,
Right.
they don't trust the right people,
Mm-hmm.
who mean them well. But after gaining their trust and talking to them about specific and certain things, and they seeing that you're really there and that you do care,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the most important things is that you've been through some of the things that they've gone through,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not a relative. You're not their mother or their father telling them, or you're not their uncle or whatever like that. It's almost like reiterating what they've been telling them, but it's coming from a different source.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's all it takes is just getting them to break down and come out of that shell and start start addressing what's really
Mm-hmm.
going on. And once we start getting into that conversation and that piece of it, you can start molding them and trying to take them, taking them into a different direction, and they'll start to listen more and tune in more.
Yeah, I bet it is really hard to help them see that it's hard. I bet it's hard to help someone get to a place of understanding that hurt people, and they may not always mean to do it, but it's that stuff they haven't dealt with, like you said, your father or someone else, like in my family, generations of people, and
Yes,
we're having to try to sift through their stuff so that we can become whole and
it,
then be able to help
it's a
somebody
big
else.
cycle.
It's an
It is a
ugly
big
cycle too
cycle.
sometimes.
It is. And I even find myself sometimes, do I follow my own advice all the time? No. Should I? Yes.
Hmm.
And just even having that transparent, that one of the things is having that transparency, with men, women, young males and young females, just having that transparency moment. Sometimes that's all it really takes, because they
Hmm.
feel that, they see and they feel that. And once sometimes they break down, they have that cry, that cry.
Snotting and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have that real cry where you
Yeah.
can't, where sometimes not even tears coming out your eye, you just getting it out. That's that moment right there. And
Yeah.
you just know that they on their way, they on their way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to take a break and we're going to go to one of our sponsors. And everybody that's online, thank you again for joining us for this wonderful conversation
Thank you.
about Christopher Allen's book, Open Wounds. We're going to go to our commercial sponsor really quick. And it is, where is it? Here. I have to get somebody to do this for me one day. All right. AIM. All right. All right. A social media and marketing company. We also offer services in voiceover, graphic design, commercial development, and podcast production. Start your day speaking out loud and whisper into the evening. Conversations on relationships that catch a one-man, one-woman feature. Heal through testimony and poetry. AIM is where you can find affordable packages for you to invest in your brand or your business. Follow, subscribe, like, share, and AIM for the culture, for the collective. And once again, that's follow Armstrong International Media for all of your graphic design and branding flyers, commercials. She does it all, voiceovers, as she said. She is on all platforms, and we want you guys to please aim for the culture, for the collective.
For the
All
culture
right,
and
and
the
we are
collective.
back. Yeah, we are back.
Yeah.
So, anyone in the audience, okay, any viewers out there, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And in the meantime, everybody is saying hello. DJ Get Loose
Hey,
says hello, guys.
what's up, bro?
Yeah, all
So,
right. Stevie G, hello. All the Hatchet Chronicle fam is up here. So let's see
hey,
who we have on the Facebook side. I'm like flipping back and forth platforms. Hi, Valerie. Yeah, all of our Hatchet family is up here. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Crunch? Hi, Valerie. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Anyone have any questions for Christopher? Please ask now. Hi, April. Hey, Warren. Thank you for tuning in. All right, DJ Tech One. DJ Bilal. Okay, that's Robert. Hi, DJ Bilal. I hear his name often, but I don't think I ever recognized who he was.
and
All right, who he is rather.
Eunice, it's amazing that around the time periods of a lot of the stuff that was going on, run up and down from New York to Jersey, Maryland, that I never ran into none of these people.
Oh, wow.
Because, like I said, I was a hip hop head. I love music, so I was always looking for something to do when I went up there. So, I just don't know how I didn't meet none of these people. Because, I was Chris Styles, the outgoing person. You know what I'm saying?
Chris Styles.
Yeah.
Well, that is so cool. But you know what? Everything is divine timing, so it's really cool.
Absolutely.
It's really cool. And it's been a pleasure meeting everybody, and then we're collectively supporting one another. That's what I love about this whole bunch. So, yeah. I have a question for you. Right. As I'm waiting for questions to pop up. Anybody have any questions? Let me go back and forth.
Whoa. Okay. So, there's a question here.
Okay.
Miss April J. Armstrong.
Hi, Miss April J. Armstrong.
So she put in the chat, she says, how do you get through being the youngest but expected to break those generational curses? Whew. I was one of those individuals. I guess I had my own curses that I had to break, family things. I would just say, I think first you have to address what's going on with you first. Like, don't address what's on the outside coming in. You have to address what's going on with you, even if that was a part of being the curse. That could be physical abuse, verbal abuse, or something in your family, whatever that may be. I would just say to you that address that within yourself first, and that goes by forgiving those who have, caused those issues, those traumas in your life. Once you've done that, although you do love your family, your friends, and things like that, sometimes you have to separate yourself. You could be around, but separate yourself from that. Just to limit the amount of trauma or the access to those type of things that's going to bring those type of emotional feelings and all those type of things in you. And thirdly, once you even move and get past that aspect, you have to live and be the example that you want for yourself and for those around you and the kids. You have to turn into that individual, that person, and be that. And I just know for me, changing my energy and my frequency from being that hurt and that being that hurt person, hurting other people, when I started to change my life and my frequency, all those people seemed to fall away. You started to attract and gravitate different types of people who are more like-minded and more energetic like you. So that's the advice I would give you as far as moving and breaking those curses, because those who are around you, either their frequency is going to change to evolve towards you, or they're going to move far away. I hope that makes sense.
Well, it sounds, it sounds I would have to agree with you. I would have to agree with you. At some point in time, we do have to change our circle, especially, and you pretty much technically will change your circle as you begin to change who you are. You're going to be moving forward, and you can't take everybody with you because a lot of that stuff is, the experiences you have with the people or the circumstances, whatever, they no longer serve you. So you're growing, and you're growing out of. You kind of outgrown that pot, and now you're getting ready to bloom somewhere else. You're going to get repotted in a whole nother something to blossom. And then once you blossom from that, you get to uproot from that and get in a bigger pot.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? For those who like
Yes.
to, yeah. So I mean, yeah, a lot of people you just can't take along with you. You have to just
No.
kind of, you had that experience. It's just time to keep it moving. Time to keep it moving. So hello to my friend Mia and my god sister Sherry in YouTube land.
How y'all
And
doing?
my son Daryl in YouTube land. Yeah. So, I have some questions for you. And guess what? These questions come from your book. So I'm gonna ask you your questions.
Yeah.
It's the piece on legacy.
Mm,
And then it's right before reflection. I love how
mm.
you kind of ending this work here. Um, and I also like just what I like about this book. He's going from transitioning from what he experienced as a child into his young adult years, and then becoming that seasoned person. You gave advice along the way, and that's what
Yes.
I really like at the end of each piece, whether it's a poem or a story. I like how you reflected on that particular experience and offer a great piece of advice. So, for legacy, you asked the question: if you were to leave this earth today, what would people say about you? So I'm
Mm.
asking you that question. What would people say about you?
I am in hope that they would say that, wow, it's like this young man has grown, he has blossomed, and the gifts that God gave him, he shared those with those to, bring about healing, to bring about embodiment, empowerment to their lives. That was a great father, great friend, um, just all around good person. And even today, it's hard for me to say no. So they would call me the yes man. But
Mhm.
when it came to something serious, when it came to something serious, something that's a detriment, I was not your guy because I'm going to tell you,
Mhm.
like, no, bro, you messing up. We ain't doing that today, you know. So I think that they would, say that coming out of that hurt place, coming into a place of empowerment, that's the embodiment of Chris Allen.
Okay. All right. And let me see. Who would you leave it to and why? Who would you leave your legacy to and why?
Mm. Right now, I would have to leave it to the world. Why is because I know that there's so many people that need it. Um, and when I say legacy, that is talking about my writings, my energy, my efforts uh, into fatherhood, being a better man, being a better father, being a better husband, being a better individual person, and even just a person who's come from a place where he's been around entrepreneurs, but nobody ever really actually taught him what an entrepreneur is, the business aspects of it. So um, I will leave all those things to the world right now, and also to those who are accepting of what I'm going to give to as far as my family is concerned, and my closer personal friends.
Mhm.
So that's what I would say right now. Tomorrow it might be a little bit different. I may have
Mhm.
keyed it in, so I toned it in a little bit better. So yeah.
Well, I was going to ask a question about. I'm just going back to I guess how important. What do you how do you address the issues of helping someone? You shared about your spiritual gifts. I'm sorry, I'm stuttering. And
Yeah.
how important is it that we all should utilize our spiritual gifts? Even
use
through our
this.
trials, like how do we tap into that so that we can navigate through some of
I
the stuff
think
we go
first and
through?
foremost, we have to know that we were given these gifts for a purpose, um, and it's a time and place for everything, and that your gifts that were given to you are supposed to help, not only help you, but help your loved ones, help those around you, even help your enemies. Whether they want to accept it or not, you've been given these gifts to help people,
Mm-hmm.
and no matter if it does cause you pain or it causes suffering and things of that nature, um, you have to utilize these gifts and continue to evolve these gifts. Um, there's a lot. There's a couple of gifts that I do have. We'll say clairvoyance. I had a gift of, I'm an empath person,
Mm-hmm.
and being around people, sometimes I have to withdraw or get away from people or learn how to protect yourself in all these different aspects because, um, and I feel so much, um, and I know stuff about people sometimes before they even open up, or they may not open up, but I know something's wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and people, so I would just say that, um, within learning how to use your gifts or understanding that you have them, also seek information and advice on how to protect yourself or how to be able to relieve the stresses that come with having these gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be the advice that I would give to everybody this evening in response to your question.
Mm-hmm. Um, I just want to go back to that day you were, I think you said maybe 11 years old, 9 years old, and you definitely must have tapped into your gift that particular day when you had to deal with a racist father, and then having to actually be used to help him.
And he wasn't even thankful.
Yeah.
Oh, and so again, that's just an example of my, who I am in my heart. You know, um, I guess it doesn't matter at the point of being used, but it wasn't more for him. It was more for my friends.
Mm-hmm.
He had a son and daughter, and they were talking to me, but because his family is racist, they when, when I say they beat them, I think I might have saw them a week later,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like some of the wounds on their hands and their arms are still kind of fresh,
Mm-hmm.
just for talking to me. Playing, we were playing together, and
Mm.
one day they want to see them to be, playing with a black child. Um, and it's crazy because we live practically with my the gentleman who raised me, his mother lived next door to them,
Mm-hmm.
which is crazy. So, um, just the day I was working, my father. We was doing some. He had took me and he was teaching us how to do certain stuff. That day did some roofing and some stuff like that. And I went over to the convenience store, to get us some lunch. And they came in. After I ordered my stuff, they came in. Um, and he was acting. Father was like usual, racist rants and crazy stuff that he was saying, and he had a tab with the store,
Mm-hmm.
and um, the man's wife, whoever they both owned the store, but the man who he wasn't there, the wife was there, and he was calling her all types of obscenities and things like that, and get him on the phone, you blocker this and this and the third, and so you know I saw her start easing her way around like she was gonna get the shotgun because I
Wow.
saw I knew where it was. It was, and she was gonna get the shotgun and brand it, but she was like, "These kids are here, and these kids are already upset that he's tripping." And I knew that they were hungry too. So, what ended up happening was that after that whole situation, um, I just kindly I went over there and asked her how much was that stuff, and I used my father's money. I didn't ask
Mm-hmm.
him. I just used his change to pay for their food so that they'll be able to have something to eat. It was more for them than um, it was more for them than him himself. I know he didn't deserve it, but even after how he treated me and how he treated the kids and treated everybody in there,
Hmm.
it looked like for a second that he wanted to say thank you, but he wasn't able to even do that. He just looked at me bewildered, like, I don't even believe this. And then he just snatched the bags off the counter and walked out the store. But I still think that was from his embarrassment.
Hmm.
His pride and ego still kicked in. Um, and, they went on and walked out the store. Um, but I had to still deal with another issue. Now I had to tell my father that I bought food for. It's like I bought some groceries and food so they could eat for somebody who didn't even deserve it.
Hmm.
Um, so I had to address that issue. But out of my money that my dad was going to pay me, I paid him back for it. So I actually avoided a tail whooping
Well,
in
that's
the whole
good.
situation. So yeah,
Well, that's good. Well, apparently, maybe on that day when you said you saw a moment where he almost said thank you, as your
hmm
book, you're talking about open wounds. Maybe that was his open wound moment that he had to deal with. And
yes,
who knows how when he walked away, he might not have been able to say, or, I'm sorry, thank you, or whatever at that moment. But maybe, or we're super hopeful that when he walked away ready to tackle his shadows and, try to heal from those, the issues so that his kids will not mimic what how he was, acting when they became adults. So who knows?
absolutely.
Who
And
knows?
I was like, I
You'll
always
place
wanted to go back
somebody.
and find them. I was like, I wanted to go back and look them up, but I never was able to find them.
Oh
I wanted
wow.
to see how they turned out, but I know that they didn't like them. They didn't like the grand. They didn't like their family.
Yeah.
So I know they in my heart I know that they had a better change for the heart that they didn't
Hmm.
follow those principles and things that they were being taught.
Hmm.
So I'm just glad that I was able to make an impact on him for that moment.
Yeah, for that moment. Who
Yeah.
knows? Who knows where it took him on in his life? Who knows? Wow. Well, this is a fascinating book. Your story is fascinating. Like I said, I like its setup from beginning as young as you were through all the experience you had, all the experiences that you had to absorb that actually had, I guess, prepared you to deal with your own self when you became an adult to the point where
Yes.
you reached your healing. Is there anything else you want to tell us about your book that we should know about your book? And definitely, we need to know how to find your book, where to purchase your book.
Okay.
I wish I had
Let
a
me
hard
see.
copy. I'm so sorry. I wish I had a hard copy, but I just have the
But
PDF version.
no, it's like so when I order it, I'm definitely gonna get you the hard copy. So
Okay.
I should have them in about maybe another 7 to 8 days. I did order some.
Okay.
Um, and for everybody, I do apologize. I took down my website because I'm doing some revamping and doing some things to it right now. But I'm going to have that back up. Um, I think that, and one of the aspects of the book that I wanted to share with you all, but Eunice covered that early, is about the chapters and why I chose the chapters the way that I did. So that's amazing to me, totally. Like
Oh wow.
that's that. This is the first interview that ever brought that up. So I was like, that's amazing for me. Um, and right now, if you would like to reach me, you could go to author Christopher Allen on Instagram. I'm on Twitter, C Allen Author, and Chris Allen on Facebook as well. You can send me a messenger on Facebook. You can also email me at authorchrisallen@gmail.com. Um, and you can also call me directly um, until the website goes back up. I do have that, you can send me something, PayPal or Cash App. Um, I'm also, my publishing company is um, Ascension Publishing LLC. On Cash App is Ascension Services. And you can also put the phone number in there, 804-212-5347. Um, and you can just put in there Open Wounds, the book. The book is $15. Or you can just email me at
Excuse me.
authorchristopherallen@gmail.com or Ascension Publishing LLC at gmail.com as well to order the book. Once I contact you, give me your address, whatever that is, and I'll be able to get the book out to you as soon as they arrive, and I'll keep you posted on what's going on with that.
Okay.
And I think the last thing that I want to share, Eunice, I'm currently, I have my children's book I'm almost done with that. And that also addresses, it's Christopher's First, or Christopher's whatever. So it's going to take you on adventures of my life. My first adventures of when I was like maybe 4 through 10, 11 years old. And it's going to, it's really focused on aspects of children's lives where they may have had some, to actually reduce their trauma, to reduce their anxieties in regards to specific certain situations that they may experience in their lives. So almost finished writing out that whole series, to go ahead and get that out the way. I have some new books coming out within the next 2 years. I have the Promiscuous Diaries. And that is a book that's going to be under a new pen name called Pretty Johnson. That's my pen name for that. So that's going to a whole different genre than what people are probably normal, expecting from me. But it's a book called The Promiscuous Diaries.
Wow.
I'm also working on book 2 for Open Wounds. I also have right now, I'm almost finished writing the songs for it. So, Gio, if you're still in the box, you're listening, I'm going to listen to some beats and, we go sign some contracts and do some things because I do need some music. I need some more music. There's an album that I call, the album is poetry. It's R&B. It's going to have some rap. And I'm also going to have some local VA stars and some of the people that I used to do A&R work and things like that for Dirt Network out of Philadelphia. They're going to have some of those artists on there as well to, help me to bring this album about. And that book is called Life Appraisals.
Wow.
That's not a book. I'm sorry. That's what the album is called, Life Appraisals. So that's what I have going on right now. If you would like to have me to sign some things for you on the dotted line, public notary services, I'm your man's Chris Allen. All right. So hit me up as far as that is concerned as well. And for right now, that's what I do. I do have some projects going on that I'm finishing up with some people, working on with some people as far as that book's coming out as well for my publishing company. So I'm very thankful for God for being able to have me to share my gifts and be in a position of service to others.
Well, we have a couple of comments really quickly. Leslie, she states that hi Leslie, I would like to read your book and share it with some of my family members. I hope it will inspire them to open up and recognize their childhood traumas so they can move forward and break generational curses. And I just find it very universal within our community that a lot of us have to find ways to break those curses because they run deep. They run generations deep. And so, yeah, this book I think will definitely be very helpful, Leslie. And then Valerie says, Chris, I may be looking for a male actor for my upcoming play.
Well, I ain't going to say no. So I'm definitely there. I'm there.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. It's been a wonderful pleasure talking to you. It's great. I'm so happy to be seeing all of you guys from the Hatchet family, the Hatchet Chronicle family. We get to support each other and see each other and talk to each other. This has just been a blessing for me for sure. So thank you for letting us know what's upcoming. And I definitely will. Now, I don't know if you mentioned that Styles P is going to be on that upcoming, album, but you're going to have to drop some bars. Right.
Yo,
I got 16. I keep telling everybody I had 16. I have 16 handwritten bars. So if you need me, I'm your girl. Hit me up.
Look, I was like, so what's the bars about?
About me being fly.
About you?
Yeah, it's about me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being real fly.
So it's like
16, that's it.
Miss EU?
Yeah, I'm MCEU nice, by the way. Yeah, MCEU
nice.
nice.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna hit you up. So
Okay, yeah, give me my little 15 minutes of fame. I'm gonna
that's
cut
right.
up.
So I was like, and if GL's still out there too, let me know. Because GL got some bars too. So I know he would like to be on something
Yeah,
positive, to do the thing. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. He said, let him know. Yep.
All right.
DJ Get Loose said, let me know. Let me know. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we're going to close on out right now. And again,
All
thank you
right.
guys. Please join me in thanking
Thank
Author
you.
Christopher Allen for coming on tonight's interview to discuss his book, Open Wounds. Let's deal with our open wounds. And also, I should have asked you this question. If you have a minute to touch on it really quickly, how can we be of assistance in helping those? Like you said, the book is dedicated to adult men and young men who are stuck in their past trying to find a way or figure out how to navigate life in a positive manner. How can we as a community, we as women, how can we as women help these guys or help people in that
Um,
situation?
One of the things is that a lot of times you might can't approach an individual, but sometimes, again, like I have that, I'm an empath. So whether a guy's acting tough or not, I know it's like, yo, come here, let me talk to you for a minute. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I know that's not always wise and in certain situations and certain things, but just be in a place where you're available to the people in your community, for one. Whether that, I don't care if it's your nephew, your grandson, whoever that may be, just be available just for them to even put a bug in your ear to talk about some things. You might haven't got to respond or answer, but as long as that trust is there and they coming to you, keep that line of trust open. And that's when they're most open and vulnerable to be able to speak and talk to you to get some information, to learn some things. So that's my really my advice as far as doing that. If you go to different aspects of the community, uh, I'm not from New York or New Jersey per se, but if they got community things going on, make yourself available, hand out some cards, be like, look, you need to help, call, things of that nature. And definitely, people will call. Um, People will reach out to talk to you. You just have to set your parameters, your rules to when you can be called and when you can be accessed, and you move and go from there. Even in church, like one of the things I could say, I'm not in church all the time. I do visit churches and things of that nature, but because people understand and know who you are, they know that you're in that line of place, that line of work. People will reach out to you or parents or whoever, be like, okay, just make
Mm-hmm.
yourself available, and make it work.
Okay. Well, thank you for that advice. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in. I want to thank our sponsors again, untappedtalentrecords.com and Untapped Music Radio for sponsoring us, along with, let's see here, I'm always looking at this wrong. Armstrong International Media. Again, that's AIM, and AIM is here for the culture, for the collective. Thank you so much, April and the Hatchet family, for being a part of this program, supporting this program. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And again, thank you, Christopher Allen, for coming on
Uh,
board.
you're welcome. Um, Leslie Bishop Odom, I'm going to hit you in the messenger box, and I'll respond to your question because I didn't see that question, but I'm going to I'm going to hit you in the inbox, Leslie Bishop Odom.
Right.
So
And
thank
again,
you.
and if the people, and again, for anybody who wants to order his book, please reach him at authorchrisallen@gmail.com. And the information is right here in the banner. Author Chris or Christopher? Chris Allen?
It's author Christopher Allen.
I'm sorry, Author Christopher
It's
Allen.
good. Yeah. It's author
Yeah.
Christopher Allen at gmail.com. And
Oh,
so, Leslie Bishop Odom, I am going to hit you in the messenger inbox.
all right. Well, thank you so much for that. We really appreciate everything. This has been a wonderful interview. A wonderful interview. I'm going to definitely share this book with my sons. I was really, that was
Yes.
one of the reasons why I wanted to get the book too, so they can read it. I've kind of scribbled through it, but they'll be all right. I'll get a hard copy, and
So, so, so you, how old are your sons?
So my boys are 18 and 14.
She's not pregnant.
Huh?
Remember that poem? She's not pregnant.
Oh, wait a
Check it
minute.
out.
I'm
It's
sorry.
a
One
poem.
moment. What did you say? I'm sorry.
It's a poem in there called "She's Not Pregnant."
I saw that. I read that. Nobody believed you. You said she's not pregnant.
That's right.
They didn't. They didn't even try to let you use your gifts. You knew that. You were like, "I'm please, she ain't pregnant." With all that, hey, that was really interesting. I said, okay. Well, thank you, everybody. We're going to see you again next week here for another edition of An Interview With. Please join me next week at 8 p.m. I'm going to be interviewing another wonderful, great talent from who has a great. She's a creative. She's I think a film star, film director. So we'll be back. Just join me next week to meet another wonderful person that I'll have an opportunity to shine the spotlight on and talk about.
And I'll be tuned in as well.
Okay, please tune in. Definitely tune in. All right.
I definitely love your work.
Okay, thank you. Well, you stay online for a moment and we'll see you guys next week, 8 o'clock p.m. live on YouTube and Facebook. Y'all take care and be safe. Have a great week.
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.